Welcome back. Now, South Africa remains a dangerous place for women and children. 40 women and 50 children were killed between April and June this year. The shocking statistics were revealed by National Police Minister Bheki Cele. The Nelson Mandela Children's Fund says people and organizations need to take collective responsibility and act resolutely if they wish to protect our children. For more on this, I am joined by the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund Chief Programs Officer, Dr. Stanley Maphosa. Thank you so much for your time, Doctor. We do appreciate it. These numbers are always so difficult to digest and to really comprehend. That 50 children were killed in just 3 months. And this is just statistics that have been reported. How many others that have been not reported, or if this has been underreported? You, as the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund, what do you think should be done to try and deal with this massive problem that we face in South Africa?
Thank you so much, Heidi, and all the listeners of eNCA tonight. I think you have put it very well to say these figures are very shocking. Obviously, there is a decrease that has been reported for the past 3 months, which is a quarter. But when you look at another report that State SA also released, which is for a broader period, the broader period report shows that the figures are going high, but the shorter period, the figures are going down in terms of averagely 2.8%. So what that simply means is that everyone must play their role, whether they be government, civil society, private sector, media, in number one, reporting these matters. These matters must be reported and reported accurately to the police, and you must be trained in terms of what they should do when they report the evidence gathering, so that the police will be able to handle these issues properly. Because some communities in the rural areas where we work, in the far-flung communities, have no capacity to report because culturally, religiously, and all other factors come to play for the reports to be accurate and to be used to be able to make a case against the perpetrators. And therefore, that's the first thing. The second thing, the police themselves must be able to follow up these reported cases so that people are brought to book and they face the mighty hand of the law.
I want to go back to an issue that you touched on about the role of the community and areas and villages in far-flung areas that don't report for various reasons. What role can the community play? Because I've also witnessed, having been on the field and covering these stories, that oftentimes you have community members living in fear and not wanting to report on the real facts of what is actually going on because their lives are in danger and they are in danger of being victimized and attacked. So how do communities move into the space to really inform the police and those in charge to say this is actually what's going on to help the situation?
I think the awareness creation that organizations like the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund does in working with communities is very, very critical, especially using the school as the center of where most of the children in particular are found to be learning, and the centers where children play, and even the home front itself is quite critical to ensure that the family members, the parents, the uncles, the aunties, everybody that stays in the home front empowers the children to report and to even accompany them in some cases when the crime has happened, and to not to destroy the evidence that is needed when a report is required. For example, in some communities, you will be told that just wash yourself, take a bath, and maybe destroy some of the things that have been used by the perpetrators when they were abusing you. But that's not the case. The evidence is needed. It must be kept properly, and somebody must not bath if a rape has happened, so that evidence will be used against the perpetrators. And as you have indicated already, Heidi, communities sometimes are afraid of those people that commit the crime, or sometimes it's breadwinners. Families say this person is the father of the home. If they are going to be reported, you are going to be affected by the fact that there will be enough food in this family. Therefore, we rather get a payment from this particular person than report them to the police as needed.
Doctor, I just want to speak to you very quickly about the role of the police in all of this, because I understand that in many instances they are under-resourced, but you do hear of these complaints where, a community or a family or a neighbor or just an ordinary community member heads to the police to inform them about what could possibly be going on. And sometimes they are dismissed or they are told to just wait, for example, if a child is missing. And sometimes the support that is needed from the police by these community members is not necessarily there.
Definitely. That's why there are platforms like the Community Policing Forum. And those forums are very, very critical. Those forums are some of the forums that the Children's Fund, the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund, is capacitating, is working with on the ground, is teaching to say this is what the policy says in your local language, so that they are able to understand that it's a policy matter, it's a practice matter, and if they learn what to do, sometimes it's not necessary to really, wait for the police, because community members themselves can rise up in those forums and take action. Civil society organizations that are on the ground, there are so many of them that can be able to take action themselves, and even individual children. I think what's important, Heidi, is that we need to be empowering children, what we call childism in the language of the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund, to empower children themselves from the household, from the school, from the church, from whatever platforms and forums are there, to be able to report and to come out themselves. But if they can't come out themselves, some other child can help them to be able to go and report this particular matter.
Yeah, it's rather tragic, though, that you need to empower young children to react in such circumstances. They should not even be put in this position in the first place. Just very quickly, I want to ask, the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund has called for severe consequences for perpetrators. What are these consequences that you are calling for?
The example has already been given for Gerard Ackerman, who has been given 12 life sentences for the actions that he has done against children. And we are happy that these sentences have been done, and we would like to see more of this happen to anyone that violates children, anyone that abuses children, anyone that exploits children, never mind what their position is in society, never mind what their name is in society. So I want to say this particular sentence that has happened to this particular gentleman is something that we want to see, and tougher measures to be done for those that abuse children in any manner and in any way in this country.
Certainly. Thank you so much for your insights this evening. We do appreciate it. That was Dr. Stanley Maphosa from the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund.